We got a lot of y'all logging in right now. I'm excited. Yeah, we'll give it a moment or two and then we'll let our friends at WICT kick us off.
Executives.
Sorry, one second. Mm-hmm. I just saw a quick typo in the slide. All right, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We'll give it another minute or so for people to join and we'll get started.
Yeah, we have a few people asked if they're going to be muted automatically in the session. That is correct, but if you send me a message, at a time or raise your hand when Lisa does a call for questions and interaction, we can make that possible so you can chat with her.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started since we're 3 minutes in. Welcome again, everybody, to Maximizing Your LinkedIn Profile. I'm Abby. I'm a general programming volunteer for WICT. I want to thank everybody for being here, continuing to attend our sessions through the pandemic, and looking forward to more in-person events next year. I've seen a sneak peek of this presentation, and I think this is one where we can all take away a little something. So I'm super excited. And I think, Elizabeth, I'll hand it over to you to introduce our speaker.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you for having us. I think this is our third event with you this year. And so we always have a great time partnering with y'all. But also, before we get started, I want to say thank you to Lisa for hosting this session. Lisa is a career coach and a connector specializing in helping individuals discover and realize their potential regardless of their industries, life stages, or background. She's currently a coach for graduate students at Duke's University Business School and is the career program director for the Masters of Management Studies program and the Weekend Executive MBA program. Additionally, she's a career transition coach with Fink Development, in addition to holding a doctorate in education from North Carolina State University. She is also a Designing Your Life certified coach. So she's going to have a lot of great advice and feedback, and it's going to be a wonderful session. If this is your first time joining a Breaking the Glass program, my name is Elizabeth Lamb. I'm the partnerships manager for Breaking the Glass. What we do is we partner with tech companies and nonprofits to provide free personalized programming on diversity, inclusion, and women's career development topics. We have provided webinars for our partners like Walmart, IBM, Dell, Charter Communications. Let me know if you'd like to learn more. I'm going to be dropping my contact information in the chat so we can get connected. But without further ado, I'm going to go on mute and off video. You'll see me in the chat. I'll be making sure the back end runs smoothly, and I'm going to pass it over to Lisa.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here. So let me pull up my slides here, make sure they're right to get started. Okay, let's make sure you're seeing the right thing. Is this presenter mode again, or is this right?
We're still in presenter mode.
Oh my gosh. How about that? Good?
Yeah, it's loaded.
All right. So today we are going to talk about maximizing your LinkedIn profile. So if any of you have spent any time on LinkedIn, you know that is a never ending project of fun. So what I've tried to do today is just design, where do I get started so that I know I'm making progress on my profile and not putting it off, but also not feeling overwhelmed by essentially the limited possibilities that exist when we talk about LinkedIn and how we can leverage it. So you already had my brief intro, but I'm a career coach, in addition to program director at the Fuqua School of Business at Duke University. So what I do for fun is learn new stuff, which fits really well in topics like LinkedIn and career coaching, because there's always something to learn. I like to volunteer in the community, spend time with my 2 children and 2 furry children. So really 4 there all together, all as spoiled as the others, and be outdoors as much as possible. Here in North Carolina, we have a long season for that. So fall's coming here and I'm excited for that. So here's the goal for today. We start by having you think about, what do I use LinkedIn for? If the answer is, I'm not sure I'm using it very much right now, you can write aspirationally, what would I hope to use LinkedIn for? Or maybe what do I know I should be using it for, whether or not you do, that type of thing. And then again, as I mentioned, there's so much to do on LinkedIn. So give you a few tips of where to start. If I want to make updates, if I really want to maximize, what sections can I target so I feel I have a tangible goal? Then closer to the end, very quick, once you feel my profile is amazing, I know I've maximized every single section of it, what can you do next to continue to leverage LinkedIn? Then have time for Q&A at the end. But really, as Elizabeth said earlier, would love for this to be an interactive session. So anytime you have a question, type something in the chat, we can get it answered. And then again, we'll have time for questions at the end. So what am I using LinkedIn for? To be honest, this is not something a lot of people think about. A lot of people get on LinkedIn because someone tells them that they should, or they know that it's a professional platform and I just don't want to not be on it. So I don't want to miss out on an opportunity by not being on it. So I just quickly throw something together and here we are. Now I feel like I'm on LinkedIn. But remember, LinkedIn is a search engine. So whatever I put, if it's very minimal, that's all someone else is going to see about me when they're looking for information. So I'm definitely not maximizing it if I just very quickly went in and put in my very basic information. Now, again, that is a starting point. So having a presence is better than having no presence at all, but certainly we're here today to make sure we're leveraging it. So when you think about what do you use it for, again, now, in the future, could be aspirational. What am I hoping to do? Am I hoping to grow my network of people in the similar field, maybe even within my company, right? We're now all a bit more dispersed, or we have been during COVID, and we realize I can also use LinkedIn to connect with people that work in my same office that maybe I don't see on a regular basis, or maybe they work in my company, but in a different part of the country, and now I'm not really seeing them. So don't use it just to make new connections, use it to stay connected with people that you already interact with, because perhaps you learned something about them from connecting with them on LinkedIn that you didn't know, say past jobs or what they're interested in. A lot of people also use LinkedIn to build thought leadership. You all are experts in your field. You all know a lot, not just about your company, but about the industry as a whole and each job function that you have. You can teach a lot of people that by publishing on LinkedIn. Is that what I want to do? Do I want to share what I do on a day-to-day and what I learn and find interesting with other people, that is one of the benefits of LinkedIn. And that is actually not something that many people do. So if you really are focused on your brand and being a thought leader, you can get a lot of traction, even within your own company, right, or department, by sharing out more new information. And last, maybe I want to find new opportunities. Maybe I want to, again, share with other people what I've learned. Maybe I want to present, maybe I want to be on a nonprofit board, in addition to my work. LinkedIn is not only just, I have one professional job and I want to go to another professional job. It's so much more than that. Now, certainly some of you on here might be thinking, I need to move, or I need a different job, or my life has changed. And you definitely can use it for that more practical job search, but really want to make sure you all know you should maximize your profile regardless of what your goal is. So just out of curiosity, if anybody would like to type in the chat, what would you say you use LinkedIn for? Is it to grow your network? Is it like, I don't really leverage it that much, just trying to gauge how familiar you all are with LinkedIn. So if you want to just type how you would gauge your engagement and what you use it for in the chat. And there's not a wrong answer, so no pressure to answer anything you say. It's great. All right, so far we have everything covered, which is perfect. Job seeking, researching job candidates, networking, thought leadership, staying in touch with past coworkers is great. Yes, intending to use it for jobs, perfect. So we got a little bit of everything, which is good. So because the sections that we'll talk about can be used for every opportunity, I hope that no matter what you're here for, you take something away. And again, the key would be to remember that it is a site that is best utilized by the more we are on it, the more information that we have. So one reason why a lot of people don't update their LinkedIn profile or don't feel they keep it updated is because of the number of sections that require us to put thought into them and edit them. So if you look across the typical LinkedIn profile, if someone is leveraging their sections, there would be a cover photo or the background photo, which is a long photo across the back, the profile photo, which is the circular photo that is most readily what someone would see if they're looking for someone on LinkedIn. The headline are the words that come right under the profile photo. About me is the large summary section. Then all of your experience, which you can populate in any way that you like based on your opportunities, education, volunteer opportunities, licenses and certifications, skills and endorsements, recommendations. And then there are a few additional sections where people can add even more specialized information. So again, I have limited time. I want to maximize my profile. This seems like a lot to do. And you're right, building out each section really does take a long time. So what we're going to talk about today are what I would recommend would be the top 3 sections that if I want to make sure those are set and clear and I'm really maximizing, where can I start? Before I tell you what those 3 sections are, the other thing I will say is very important is to have a profile photo. Have a professional photo, make sure it's just of you. Again, LinkedIn has maintained its ability to be a professional social media site, say different from any other type of site, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, any of those things where you might see people with their families or more engaging in external activities, again, with all of our pets and that kind of thing. LinkedIn, really to maximize it and think of it as professional networking, should have a professional photo there of just you where someone can see who you are and what they look like. To simulate, again, if I'm networking with someone just on LinkedIn, at least I get a sense like, okay, I would know that person potentially if I saw them around. So in addition to the 3 sections we'll talk about, make sure you have a recent profile photo. Where to start? The headline, about me, and experience. So again, you can populate any section at any time. You can edit any section at any time. But we're going to go through why you should start with these three, how you can maximize these three sections. Then if anyone has any questions about the other sections, I'm happy to answer those closer to the end. But to get started, why are we talking about the headline? Well, it is the only section a stranger can see about you if you aren't connected. So if you've tried to search for people on LinkedIn, type in someone's name, see what pops up. In addition to their photo, which will pop up, you will see the headline. So if I'm trying to connect with people or change jobs and have informational interviews, people want to know a little bit about me, right? That's the benefit of LinkedIn. And this is the way I can project to them a little bit about who I am so that we feel connected by the time we start a conversation. So again, think about that. Most everyone has to have a headline. There's a default that LinkedIn gives you, as we'll talk about. What we'll go through is maximizing it essentially by not using the default, but personalizing it more so that I feel I know something about you. So only section anybody on LinkedIn can see about me. So better make it good, maximize my opportunities. It is one of the most highly searchable sections. So if I want someone to proactively find me on LinkedIn, which again, for connections, for external opportunities, or for new jobs, I think we all would love for someone to reach out to us and say that they thought of me and help connect me to an opportunity. So when recruiters use a keyword search, part of the key sections that pop up is the headline section. So if you are here to change jobs, as some of you mentioned, you might be interested in something else, especially if you want to make a career pivot, you need your headline to showcase what you are looking for in the future. And then again, there is a default on LinkedIn, which is job title at current company. Hardly anyone customizes it. And really, it's a missed opportunity because, again, I can project much more about myself than just my job title. Some of you might be thinking, my job title doesn't make any sense. No one ever understands what my job is. People always question what it is, or I don't feel that my job title actually describes all that I do. That is common across pretty much every company and industry, that there are some people whose job titles just don't accurately reflect the type of work they do, what they're known for, what they want to do, all of that. So because of that, you can leverage your headline to be much more than that. So that's why focus on it, number one. The other thing, because we talked about LinkedIn being a search engine and sort of algorithm based, the nice thing is you can test all of this out. You can try it. And if, see who populates, maybe more people reach out to you, see if you get more hits on your profile. If it's not the right thing, you can change it again, right? So it really gives you that chance to test the waters and see what's really sticking for what I'm looking for. So the next couple slides are how to think about building a headline. So again, default is just current job title at current company. That's it. How can I make mine more than that? And how you want to do that really does depend a little bit on what you are hoping to use LinkedIn for, right? So those of you in all the different spaces, if you want to be a thought leader, maybe your job title with a specialty keyword is going to put you out there. I am an expert in this space, so I want people to, come to my profile, engage with me, listen to what I have to say. If I'm a job seeker, maybe I want to list something different than my current title because I'm looking for a higher level job or I'm looking to pivot. But at the very least, if you're going to leave your current job title, at least add some type of adjective, something more than just the job title. And so some sort of keyword that's relevant to you with your job title. So maybe it's just experienced, data manager, something that shows a little bit more than just what the title is. Adding specialties or keywords could be if you focus on something in your sector that is very niche, that makes you stand out, or something that you are always known for. If you do use technology, maybe it's something about the technologies that I use because I know they're very in demand. You can add those. The other thing is a benefit statement or a call to action. So a benefit would be the benefit that you bring to companies. If you want to be a speaker or a call to action, you can say, contact me to connect, right? Or check with me to connect if you want to build that thought leadership. You have a lot of characters for a keyword, often depending on what your job title and your company are, you have more than that. So don't feel that you're limited to that, but think through which one of these is going to really add more than just saying my job title at my current company. All combinations of those lead to another format that a lot of people see, which is the function I'm an expert in, the industry that I am in or aspire to be in, and what value I add to the company. The little dashes, if you're not familiar with editing, the basically capital letter I is how LinkedIn profiles, typically headlines would be divided. So you don't really see a dot, you don't see a comma. This is the way that people have decided to differentiate their different categories on a LinkedIn headline. So again, if you are happy where you are, the value you add is expertise to the field. If you want to change and do something else, you can list the industry as something aspirational. Because it is not linked to just your current job title and company. This does not place you exactly where you are. This really places you how you want people to connect with you. So I could say for myself, I could focus on higher education as my industry. I do work in higher education. I can also focus on just coaching as a more broad industry, not necessarily linked to higher ed. Depending on which one of those I place, I often see different things sent to me as potential jobs or people to connect with me or companies to follow. So very slight tweaks. I tweak my headline all the time just to see what happens. So I encourage you all to do that too until you feel like I've really honed in on what I'm interested in. So to put this into action, and then I would like for you all, after I share some examples, to sort of chat in and see which ones resonate with you more. So here are 3 versions. I did a little digging on some charter communications people yesterday in the space of WICT, and then just made some up. So this is a combination of real things I found from people and just other items that I decided to make up. So these are 3 different LinkedIn headlines. Senior Director at Charter Communications is one headline. Building brands with strategic communications is one. And then another one is software developer, technology and communications, known for exceeding client expectations. So if you were going to reach out to someone or thinking of who would I pick just based on headline alone, type in the chat which one of these resonates with you the most. And again, it's all up to interpretation, so no right or wrong. All right, so most people say 3. Some people say 2, which I actually agree with. I like them both because they both say more than just the job title. So if you think about who you might be connecting with on LinkedIn, maybe I don't know what a senior director is. So I don't know if you're a person I want to talk to. If you're applying for a job at my company and your headline is senior director, do I know what that is? Do I not? Is it similar to what a senior director might be in my industry? Or perhaps my industry doesn't even have a senior director, so I can't even place, where your job is. Versus the other 2, both showcase more of what they're known for. I agree, number 2 is quite intriguing of, I wonder how they do that, right? So that entices someone to engage with me and ask more about my profile. And then the third one just uses more words and gives a little bit more details. So someone asked about how to make, it doesn't have to be the letter I. That's just, I was describing that's what that looked like. So yeah, you are correct that there are other ways to make that marker to separate. So in terms of now going back to your own profile, think about, what do I have? Again, if I set up my LinkedIn profile and haven't looked at it in a while, I will have number 1 because that is the default that they give to everyone. So, so just think about that and then think about how you would tweak it. Interestingly, and then I'll answer the question about following. Interestingly, the amount of characters you have to populate your headline is slightly different if you try to edit it on the computer versus on the mobile app. And so if you get a few more characters, if you try to edit it on the mobile app. So just a slight tip there for going through. So someone asked the difference between connecting and following. So connecting with someone on LinkedIn means you are going to reach out to them and then you are going to be a part. If they accept your connection, it's going to have the number 1 beside it, a first-degree connection. You're going to be connected. What a connection means is that that person can now see every person in your network. And so more easily reach out to someone else that is connected with you. Following someone means that you see the content that they produce. So most people who have a button to follow are people who are really thought leaders. So you might, so like Brene Brown, you might follow her, right? I'm not personally connected to Brene Brown, so she probably isn't going to accept my connection request, but I want to see her content. So a lot of very well-known names or people who have just become well-known in sectors are more where you would follow them. You can see for every person how many followers they have. You can also follow companies of interest and professional organizations and things like that. But what following does is means that it will showcase their new content more quickly in your newsfeed. So if you just are interested, again, if you're trying to learn on LinkedIn, follow relevant people in companies and in fields, and then connect with people that you genuinely know, like your coworkers, your past coworkers. Also, you can reach out to connect with people that you hope to know. All right, so that's the headline. So now that we've done that, test it out. I hope you have fun changing it and seeing what happens. The next section would be the About section. So this is unique to LinkedIn, say compared to my resume or other materials that I might have that I think about from my career context, in that this is me telling a story of who I am in my own words. This is not experience, which we'll talk about next, which is just the jobs I've had and what I've done. This is me. This is basically my pitch, my intro that I would be giving at a face-to-face networking chat, right? So if you think about all of your fun networking events that you have as part of WIC, right? Like I go up to somebody, don't know them, introduce myself. Well, if I think of LinkedIn as the virtual way to do that, this is my chance to do that. So it's my first impression out there to the world of every person who finds me. So make sure you leverage it. And reviewing a lot of profiles, a lot of people just don't use this section because they're not sure how to use it. So really great missed opportunity if you don't use it. So if you don't have one, make sure you start today with something here. Use the first person. So this is not a formal bio that maybe you have on a company website or you have if you give a presentation. This is the first person account. Again, you sharing who you are. We know that stories are more memorable than facts, always. That's proven over and over in research. So again, this is my hook to hook someone in when they see my profile. It also shares your why. So in thinking about being a thought leader, why do we do our jobs, connecting with coworkers, looking for new jobs, people want to know why you're doing what you're doing. What are you interested in? What are your passions? What gets you up every day and excited about this? Not just I do this job and I do it really well and here's my accomplishments, but why am I excited to do this job? This is the one spot on your profile that allows you to do that. And again, if you think about other common things people might use to put out there and present themselves, this is what is differentiating from, say, a resume, right? My resume is just my list of accomplishments from jobs. This is me, why I do what I do. It can be as personal as you are interested and willing to make it. Some people use LinkedIn just to chat with people, and maybe I want to join a book club of other people who work in my field and read books, right? You can list things there. Also, you want to maximize the space. There is a lot of space available on this section, about 350 words total. You can play around with the format. You see a lot of paragraph with bullets, paragraph with dashes, multiple paragraphs where I describe my overall passions, then my job, then what I'm seeking, whatever format fits who you are and what you're interested in. Now, if you're viewing someone's profile, keep in mind that the first 3 sentences are what everyone sees before you see the 3 ellipses, the 3 dots for the ellipses, and have to click on more. So if I'm really trying to maximize how I'm hooking someone in, the first 3 sentences really should be your focus at first, then go down from there. So again, this is also a highly searchable area. It's a great place to put keywords, but just like anything else, I don't want to have non-meaningful keywords, right? I don't just want to flood it with keywords because I know they're in there, and I know if a recruiter is looking for me, they'll find me. But I can strategically list things, which might be hobbies. I can't tell you how many people find interesting people on LinkedIn just because they read that they like something as a hobby, and that gave them courage to reach out and connect, right? Because sometimes it's hard to reach out to someone just in a professional level, but I see you're a foodie and I'm a foodie, or you like running and I like running. Now I want to reach out because we have something that I know we will both relate to. So again, it's up to you, your comfort level of sharing personal things, but think about that as you go through this section. But definitely first person, and definitely does not have to be linked to my job. So people who are wanting to share your expertise, share what you're an expert in, share how many years you have been learning and focusing on one particular thing. People who want a job search or change jobs, share overall transferable passions. Like, I'm always passionate about solving tough problems, right? You can share whatever you like. I know that seems like a lot. 350 words might take you back to some essay that you had to write in school sometime, and you're like, yeah, I'm not, that seems stressful. It's very long. So how to think about it. Talk about the industry that you're in or that you're interested in. Focus and motivation. What gets you up again? What gets you excited? Why do I come and do what I do every day at work or in life? It doesn't matter. You can share values, skills, accomplishments, interests. All of that stuff can culminate into these perfectly crafted sentences and bullets. And you can also add a call to action. I've seen a lot of people say, if you're interested in pivoting into my field, please reach out and I'm happy to chat, right? So you can, once you start reading profiles, see, okay, there are a lot of people on LinkedIn who genuinely want to give back and help. Let me make sure I leverage them. Again, tactically, if you do not have LinkedIn Premium, there are only a certain number of profiles you can view every month of people you aren't connected to, but it's a pretty high number. It's like 30 profiles you can click on if you're not connected. So that's typically more than most of us have time to really delve into and read while we're working and managing our lives. But just know, if you only have the free version of LinkedIn, you would reach a limit of how many profiles you could look at in every month. But the beginning of every month, it resets and off you go, starting again reading summaries. So just to quickly give you some samples, these are not, I know they're a little small, these are not full samples, but you can see the ... see more, as I mentioned. So the first 2 are samples of the first part of the about section. So again, the first 3 sentences, and then the last one is just a call to action someone had at the end. So because it's a little small, I'll just quickly read them. Dynamic leader with analytical skills and data-focused attitude to decision-making. Responsible for setting strategy, goals, and roadmap for the reporting data platform to deliver business results. Ability to motivate team to reach their highest level, and then it goes down. So you can see a lot of keywords in there, very transferable, a little hint of what their job might be. But again, when you're seeing someone's about, you're also seeing their headline before that. I intuitively understand how processes work, especially across different departments. I love data and systems. I strive to have a positive impact by making changes that improve the lives of team members and customers. I enjoy driving execution and solving problems. Through my career journey, I've built my core values around accountability and ... very long. Those are two at the beginning. So you can see how they're both not like, this is my job. There's no job title mentioned. There's no company mentioned. It's more about me, how I am describing myself as a person, as a leader. But again, both of these make you want to click that see more and read a little bit more about this person. Then here's just a brief how someone had a call to action at the end. If you want to chat about your career path, what you've learned about how companies work, or coaching new managers, I would love for you to get in touch. So if you come across someone like that, now you have a hook for how I can reach out to that person because they simply put it on there in the chat. All right, so that is the about section. Now I'm going to go through and see, okay, I shared samples. They're not full samples. Good question about premium. I would say, I encourage everyone to try to leverage the free version and only pay for a premium if you really, really believe that you need it. I think based on your network and what you're looking for, a lot of people are on LinkedIn to specifically connect. So you can reach out to people and connect with them without having premium. Again, the only difference is the amount of people you can connect with by month. And so I would say try it first without premium. For someone in a very active job search, we tend to say, one, you get a month free trial, so you can strategize around when you want that. But if you really want to go all in and really, really want to leverage LinkedIn to really rebrand or do as much as possible, then you might want to consider a premium. Yeah, so that's a good question. Putting stuff out there, your ideas. You know, that is a common feedback we get about LinkedIn in general, a lot of questions of people sharing too much information. So I would say you want to do what you're comfortable with. Perhaps you want to put a hook in and have people share, you know, reach back to me to discuss this idea more, right? And prompt someone to come back to you. If you have thoughts about changing a brand, or say, you know, remote work is like the #1 thing people are posting about right now in sort of my field, and coaching people on, you know, should they change jobs or not based on their company's hybrid or remote or in-person work policies, right? So if I had a thought that I thought had not been discussed before, perhaps I would want to just put out there, contact me to discuss. I would love thoughts, that type of thing. So I would, however, I will say most people on LinkedIn are using it for the right reasons, say compared to other social media platforms where it has stayed more professional and that type of thing. So do what you're comfortable with, see what happens, add some, then you could add a little bit more once you get feedback. There's also a way on LinkedIn, you can put polls out there. I don't know if you've seen those recently, but if you want to just get other people's insights on an idea you have, you can make a post that's a poll that might help you with some ideas that you have without you having to share your direct content. So if you're looking to change careers, then I'll answer the question about recommendations. I would write the about section in terms of what you're looking to do. So if you see the samples that we had, you know, they're not linked to a particular job, and they're more about what they like and being a leader and how they manage teams or how they work on a team. But certainly your past job is going to be there, right? It's going to be in my experience section, and my past experience is what it is, right? That was the job I had. That was the field I came from. But you could see how you could leverage your past experience and how it's transferable. So if someone was coming from retail and moving into healthcare, and they might think, I don't see a link across these. You know, retail is a customer-focused, customer-centric field. So is healthcare in a lot of ways. So if I describe my past work, I describe it in a way that makes sense to the new company I'm talking to. In terms of recommendations, I'll touch on that quickly. They can help. They don't replace recommendations that you might be requested for if you were in an interview. But if you have particular skills that you want to highlight, if you're going to use recommendations, I would ask someone specifically to highlight what you want them to highlight. So if I want someone to highlight myself as a manager because I want to show that I've done that, maybe I target the people who've worked for me and I ask them to showcase that skill. It is not a highly searchable section. So it is out there. Some people use it, but again, it's not one of the key sections. So if you have limited time, I wouldn't focus on the recommendation section, but it certainly has some merit. All right. Yeah, that's a good question about accepting connections of people you've never heard of. That's a personal, very personal opinion. Some people who want to grow their network, if the person is in a relevant company or in a relevant industry, will just accept them. So for me, if it's any student that I have in one of the programs that I work with, or really any Fuqua student, I will accept their connection because we have a connection as I work here and they're a student here. I do not do the same for other people because once you connect with someone, they again have access to every first degree connection that you have. And so what they can do, which is one way to leverage LinkedIn, would be to say, I have a connection. We have a mutual connection with Devika. And so I'm reaching out to you because of that. If you don't know that person, then the other person might come back to you and say, hey, what do you know of this person? And you're like, I've never met them. Most people that I would say out in the world only connect with someone that they have met. It could be briefly met, like at a networking event, and you think you want to keep in touch, or someone has written you a personal request. So if you are writing a connection, make sure you write an actual request, a note. Do not just click connect. It's much easier to do that on the computer. It will say add a note automatically. On the phone, on a mobile device, you have to click the 3 dots right beside where it says connect to then be prompted to type in a note. There's a difference between a connection, note, and a message. If you are using networking, really trying to meet new people, I would start with sending messages, which is one reason why people use premium, because you get more, and then only connect once you know somebody. Sharing personal hobbies. I think a lot of people like that. So it's something I recommend people to put on their resumes and everywhere that they can. Because again, we are using LinkedIn to showcase that we are people and we have more to us than just, what my job title is. And so it's a great connection point. If you think, okay, I don't love reaching out to people. I don't love connecting with people. I don't know. I'm very introverted. But if I see that they like the same thing that I do, or I see they like the same kind of food, I know I have something safe I can ask them about. So that's why most people share that. But again, it doesn't have to be everything, because it's not sharing to the same level that I've, made a TikTok video dancing with my children, right? So it does have a bit more of, I'm just putting out a little bit of what I like to see if it resonates. All right, let's see. Great years of experience giving back, time to new employees. So LinkedIn, yeah, it doesn't match. There's not like a matching system, like a mentor system. So what I would say for this is put out that call to action, sort of like this one we have here of, if you'd like to chat about your career path, get in touch. You also can post original content. So that's very similar to being a thought leader. And what that does, and then LinkedIn has a lot of stuff about hashtags, which could be a whole nother hour in and of itself. If you post on relevant hashtags, people interested in the same thing can use the hashtags to find you. So I would recommend trying to post more, that you're willing to talk to people, that you're out there in the field, and use relevant hashtags. You can, if you're not familiar about how LinkedIn uses hashtags, go to the search box and type in a hashtag, and it will pop up and it will show you how many followers it has. 3 is the maximum number, or not the maximum, the ideal number of hashtags you should put in a post to maximize your reach, according to a LinkedIn algorithm study that was just put out a few weeks ago. 3 is the ideal to maximize your reach. So I would say you could put mentoring, you could put your field in posts that you've written, and that should draw people back to you. But that's great. Yeah, it doesn't have a mentor. You would think it would, but it still requires people to put in a bit of effort themselves to find people. All right. Thank you for all the great questions. We'll quickly go over the last section, which is showcasing your experience. So experience can be quite long. If you're comparing LinkedIn to, say, resume, the benefit of LinkedIn is there are no page limits to have to worry about. So I can put whatever I want about any job that I've had. I would try to make it comprehensive because, again, we know it's the search engine. We know people might want to connect with us differently, but it's up to you what you list. And if you are worried about the length of your career or how long you were at a particular company, you can only list years. So you don't have to list months and years, similar to anywhere else. So job titles can be 100 characters, which means I can put more, again, than just my job title because I'm putting the company and then I'm putting the job title. So you can showcase function and scope. So that example we had earlier of senior director, maybe I put, marketing senior director or technical senior director or senior director, comma, data analytics or whatever I want to put, because it doesn't have to match exactly what my job title is, but I'm framing more details there. If your job title is one of those that we talked about before that maybe people don't understand, some people put in parentheses or put a slash and put something else. So in certain fields, a lot of people are called like a consultant, but maybe they're not, maybe they're more like a product manager, for example. So I could call myself a digital consultant or solutions consultant, and I could put a slash product manager so that if someone from another field is looking at my profile, they'll understand what I'm talking about. To describe your role, you can write in first person to describe your role, and especially transitions. So if you were recruited away or promoted and it doesn't showcase clearly, you could write, I was brought onto the team too, and list your accomplishment. List why you were brought. You could say that you were, the first person promoted or promoted faster than most people, whatever you want to say to describe it, you can do that here. Again, say different from maybe a resume or how you would talk about your job. You still do want to list 3 to 5 accomplishments per role. And as anything in career, what makes it translatable is quantifying things as much as possible. Now, there is, if we go back to all of the sections, there is a volunteer section as well. But maybe what you do volunteering, you're doing something right now that is as much time or maybe even more time. Maybe you're on the board of directors somewhere. You can include that in experience if you like. It's really up to you how much differentiation you want to put across all of the sectors and the different segments. So you could list it in experience. If I'm also on the board of directors right now, maybe I want that to really be highlighted in my experience section. Experience and job titles, also highly searchable section. So again, I basically picked 3 of the top sections where someone can find you on LinkedIn, because you're going to be looking for people like that. And you just want to maximize when people can find me the easiest. Then I populate other sections. Similar, the certifications and education. Most people would differentiate by education section being something that earned a degree that has sort of a transcript and a more official degree, versus certifications would be something else. However, if you come from a more technical background, you likely also want to list some of the technical skills that you have in maybe multiple different sections, right? Maybe it's in my about section, maybe it's in my job to showcase which technical products I use maybe I also put it in technical skills and that type of thing. So it's okay to duplicate across, but most people, if you're just starting out, I would say that's why I picked these three. So sort of start there and then see. If you have been promoted in your own company or took a lateral move, but you're still in the same company, you can make sure that on LinkedIn, it shows a progression. So I don't know if you've ever seen the difference between the notification saying, congratulate someone for being promoted versus congratulate someone for starting a new job. So you can showcase that it's all within the same company. And that way it'll show the long tenure that you've had at a company. You also can you can put something as an additional job responsibility where it'll still come up second. So again, if I'm on the board, but I also have a full-time job, maybe what I want people to see first is my full-time job. Then I put the board underneath. And if you have the notification set up, it will say, congratulate whoever on their additional job. So you can play around with it, again, depending on what you're trying to showcase, how much information, what you're trying to share. But, because we're networking, we're trying to do so many different things in terms of growing our network or finding a job or, giving back. We want to highlight as much as possible that we think will draw people to us, and we never know what other people are searching for. So the more you can put in that's relatable to who you're hoping to have conversations with, it'll help the conversations flow better. All right, I think we got a few more questions. So if you stayed at your first job for a long time, is it okay to pick a later date? Since omitting it altogether would be too much work experience. I would just list years in a job. So you don't have to list a lot, of how much time you were there. You don't have to list everything on LinkedIn. So, a resume, people usually don't list everything after they've been working. So it's slightly different in terms of I can list things on LinkedIn because I don't have to worry about the space. The reason people keep things on LinkedIn a bit longer is if I want to connect with someone, maybe I find people that worked at that company, not in the same time as me, but we already have a connection by nature of working there, no matter when it was. But if you think it has no relevant background at all to what you're looking to do now, then perhaps you don't include it. So to address taking a sabbatical, yes. So that is a very hot topic. There are a lot of companies now that are actually focusing on return to work. And so that's a very big topic in a lot of sectors of how people view that. So it's up to you as to how you would want to place it. If you did, so a couple of ways. If you did anything that like you volunteered during the time, even if it wasn't the main thing you did, right? Maybe you traveled, but I also volunteered. Some people just list the thing that they did, like I also was volunteer for my, my church or whatever. And maybe I only did it for 2 hours, 3 hours, it doesn't matter, but it shows a consistency. If you take away the months and you only list years on your materials, it might not even showcase that you took a year off because maybe I finished the very end of one and started, at the beginning of another, and it really minimizes what's going on there. I would say you want to give a description. So don't just say that you did that, but give some sort of description. If anybody's thinking about, that's happened to a lot of people in the past year and a half with COVID, it certainly has. And so that is something where a lot of people are just putting stuff out there. Like I reassessed what I was looking to do. I took personal leave. You can put it in your about section where I'm describing it how I want and not put it in the experience section. Yeah, there are lots of people who do LinkedIn profile reviews. I have my LinkedIn on the last slide here. So I'm happy to connect with you after this for sure. All right, and we answered that other question. We answered from the chat. Let's see what else. So you can say that you're open to opportunities on corporate boards as what you're interested in on LinkedIn. You could have recruiters reach out to you for volunteer opportunities, and you can project that out that you're interested in volunteer opportunities. So that's how you could do that separate from what you're reaching out to in business development. So you could have two things there. You could also describe it in what you're looking for. So seeking board roles and, business development, you could describe both. And if you were doing outreach to people, I think you would differentiate if you were doing it in a personal capacity or for your job. So to unfollow a group or a person, unfollowing a group, once you're in the groups is a little easier. On the groups tab, you can click unfollow. People, you typically have to go to their profile and then select that you want to unconnect with them. To unfollow them, it should show that you're following them at the top and you can unclick. But if you want to not be connected with someone anymore, that takes a bit more effort. But you can do that as well. All right, I know we're short on time. I'm keeping questions. Okay, really quick, because we talked about engagement, and then this is the last thing. Once your profile's ready, I think a lot of the questions have been about engaging. So again, the clarity of who I want to engage with. We talked about following. We talked about creating original content, especially if you want to be a thought leader. Less than 20% of LinkedIn users actively create content. So if you do, and if you use those hashtags, you're really going to gain a lot of traction because most people are just passively using it, even though it is designed to create networking. Grow your network consistently. So we talked about how do I find people, how to connect with people. If you have one goal, I would say that could be it. Once I find someone interesting, just connect with them, because the more people I'm connected with, have one conversation with, more people along the way that I can leverage for different opportunities. For those of you job seeking, follow the companies that you're interested in. Follow people who might be at those companies, especially if they're thought leaders, because a lot of companies do post jobs on LinkedIn and you will find out about them first if you are following their company. It also shows if you say, this is my dream company, and you're not following it, they might say, really, but you're following other companies. So follow things relevant to what you are interested in. So that's really once I start and I feel my profile's decent, again, constantly tweak mine every week. But once you think it's good enough to sort of showcase what you want, really start engaging, start with people, in your own company, in your own department, make sure you're connected with those people. But again, I think Elizabeth put my LinkedIn in the chat, but there it is again. And I'll take any other questions as we're wrapping up on time.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Yeah, if anyone, I know that there was some questions about the speaking function and being mute. If anyone just wanted to have a quick dialogue real quick with Lisa, I can unmute you. But y'all were so engaging today. Thank you for asking so many questions. It's always, so much more dynamic. All right, we have Gigi. So I'm going to allow you to talk real quick.
Yes, hello, thank you. My question is, how do you make your headline 2 lines?
So it should just type across, and it will only do it once you come up with the characters.
Okay, because I typed it in and it just still makes it one single line, and I tried to space over to make it move down. So am I still missing something?
Yeah, so it'll just automatically, so if you haven't reached the word limit, you could add more, but sometimes it will just drag it out longer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't let you just make it format how you want it to be, so.
Oh, thank you.
And now Elizabeth. You can just unmute yourself.
Hi. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So just really, really quickly, I don't know why, but I may be being a little bit paranoid, but I have a fear that people are going to plagiarize my great statements about what I do, what I've done, previous jobs, what I'm up to. So I'm kind of nervous about putting myself up there. When I'm really interested in a job, I will send it directly to the person that's hiring, but I get nervous about people plagiarizing my good profile. What do you guys think about that?
So you can make your profile, there are lots of privacy settings. So you can make your profile more private. And then, so that way only people that you are connected with can see your information. And again, if you're vetting who you're connecting to, that can be a way for you to feel comfortable that, okay, I know that person for sure. And so you can control it that way. Then even if it's a company you're interested in going to, you could form the first connection with the person, chat with them first, and only connect after. So I would say set most of your privacy settings to only first degree connections, and then you monitor connections. The only negative of that would be less people will just find me out of the blue, but that is a way to combat it. Or just put less info, right? So maybe this is true of people who have jobs that have, NDAs or classified information and stuff like that as well. They just put very little info and say, contact me to chat. But I would look at the privacy settings and do what you're comfortable with there.
Okay. Do you think my worries are unfounded and that people would plagiarize my good statements about what I do?
I haven't, that's not a huge problem. I think if it was, LinkedIn would address it more, but I think that's also why there's the flexibility of privacy. And I do know most people I know don't connect with people until they know them somewhat, to try to make sure not everybody sees my full info.
Okay. Got it. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Elizabeth, I work with a lot of recruiters that deal with fake profiles. They can spot those really quickly. So even if people are stealing, like if that does happen and they're like trying to be a fake candidate, they get sniffed out really easily.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was a concern, but it's
that's actually my biggest concern is I'm in technology, I'm in software development, but my undergraduate degree is in English literature. And I actually write what I think is a really solid profile that people could just copy and paste and use all my hard work on their profiles. And that's always been a big concern for me. Again, I don't know if I'm being paranoid or not, but it's good to hear recruiters can discern, the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they can tell someone that it doesn't match their background, or someone just puts a lot of keywords in randomly and doesn't have the skills. They'll be able to tell. But if you write and you have blogs and websites and other things that would showcase your style, you could link to that stuff, right? And then they would know that's you, which also would show it's not someone else.
Oh, interesting. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, I know that we are over time. We have dropped Lisa's contact information in the chat as well. I see that there's a few more questions that came through, but Lisa, you're excited to take this conversation offline, right?
Sure. Yeah. Please reach out.
Yeah. So perfect. So yeah, please reach out. Thank you so much for your time. It was a great session. It's recorded. I'm going to make sure to send the recording out to all of y'all so you can have it as notes to rewatch and make sure you're going through all the sections correctly. But again, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Lisa. I think it was a great session and looking forward to connecting with you guys further.
Okay. Sounds good. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Okay.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.